Our second female filmmaker, Tia Salisbury, who was nominated by Ruth Pickett. Tia Salisbury's film Allhallowtide. Tia hails from Bristol. Tia, what's up? Thank you for being on the show.
Hi, thanks. It's a pleasure.
And we will begin with first questions first. Tia, why did you make Allhallowtide? And as you think about it, I just should set it up because right now it's in film festivals. It's not out there, so it's not online yet. Hopefully one day it'll be on Digipop's TV. But in the meantime, it's a really super cute, funny film that starts out really dark and scary and has some twists and turns in it, and it's really great, like super well made. The acting's right on point, superb. So production value, I mean, super, super high quality, very high level of professionalism. So well done.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to hear. Thank you. It was
Yeah,
made on a wing and a prayer, I have to say. So I appreciate that.
you nailed it on all levels. You wrote it and you directed it, right?
Yeah, it was pretty much a family affair, really. I'd gone for some film funding, an art scheme in the UK. It's very competitive. I didn't get the funding, and I felt I had to make something at that time. I couldn't afford to make the film that I didn't get the funding for. So I really had to think, okay, I'll save up, a couple of £1,000, and that classic thing, what have I got at my disposal? And my daughter, who is in the film, had just been diagnosed with celiac disease. She was very pale
Huh.
and very thin. And as a caring parent, I thought, wow, you'd be a cracking Victorian ghost, actually.
Wow.
So,
That's super
um,
smart. Super smart.
and I have spent kind of 10, 12 years as a CGI animator, making broadcast television. I worked commercially. I did BBC work. I did some work with Nickelodeon,
Uh-huh.
and I wrote and I directed my own stuff. And I was really interested in making the change into live action because it's like animation, but just so much quicker. So it was sort of building on this new interest in live action filmmaking. So I'd made stuff, but not live action previously.
That's really interesting. You were interested in doing it because it's much quicker.
God, yeah. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
animation is like watching a glacier slip down a hill in
Wow.
filmmaking
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah.
And I love being an animator, and I take all of that with me now. But I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my husband's in the film industry as well. So I just really am excited about getting into live action and how I can keep making films, which I don't think I'd still be able to do as an animator, in all honesty.
Hmm.
Things like music videos, short form film, and just writing. Writing's free. I can write, I
Yeah.
can write anywhere. If I have an hour, I can write. So yeah, it ticked a lot of boxes making Allhallowtide. And I knew I wanted something fantasy. I wanted something genre because it's kind of what I'm interested in. And I knew I could pull in some favors with animators. I can use After Effects myself. Um,
Hmm.
so I felt it might give some extra, even though we had very little money, I thought it would give me some extra production value, which would, help get the film out there, because I did want it to be good enough to get into some festivals, so I could see, what was the world going to make of it, really.
Sure.
I needed that in place.
Sure. Well, so that will lead us to our first question, which is why did you make this film? And of course, all filmmakers that are looking to launch, progress their careers are looking to showcase their work at a level of professionalism that's marketable. So that's kind of, we all know that we're all coming at, from
Yeah.
that same angle. So it's got to hit the high notes: production, story, acting, really sound. So, you've nailed it there. But going beyond that, you really have. Going beyond that, why this film? What's the heartbeat of this film for you?
Just that kind of, as I say, as a first time substantial short, I needed something quite small, quite slight. You know, it's just a tale on somebody learning a lesson in responsibility. And I thought, okay, I can tackle that. I think I can, you know, something I can understand, I can write. I don't want to go any bigger than that. But that's an underlying thing. Can I also convince people that the lesson is being taught by a ghost? You know, it felt very small, it felt manageable, but I didn't really feel like I'd seen something done like that before. Um, it just felt like I wanted to do something that felt original to me. I'd never made a live action short. I'd never really seen supernatural tackled in that way. And weirdly, I hate horror films, so I had to kind of watch some really creepy stuff that I just am not comfortable watching normally. Um, and I'm not sure why the horror thing goes against all of my style normally, but I think you have to push yourself, don't you, as a filmmaker? And
What's that? You
I
have to
just,
be what?
you do have to push yourself. You have to push. You know, you maybe aren't the best curator of, oh, I'm the kind of filmmaker who makes that. And once my daughter my daughter was looking quite poorly, looking like a ghost, I thought, okay, great, let's make a ghost story. As someone who doesn't like horror, as somebody who isn't really sure about how to do this, let's make a ghost story, you know, and I just started writing.
Well, that's what's really inspiring for me to hear is that, you're moving beyond the marketability or the commerce of why and, getting your name out there. We're really talking about, okay, this is a film about a value and a lesson that's being taught by a little girl and a ghost, nonetheless, and you're using the resources that you have at your disposal to tell the best story you can. And as an artistic endeavor, which this is, we cannot lose sight of this storytelling process, is really it's content is king. And what's meant by that is it's the story, it's the heart of the story. And if you don't have a great story, you don't have something compelling. So you've got to move people. So to move people to reach their hearts, you've got to feel something and be convinced of something as an artist, right? You have to be telling something that you passionately believe in. And so this lesson of responsibility that you are showcasing in this story is really the heart of the story. And it's interesting how it's woven around one of your biggest responsibilities, your daughter, or at least
Yeah.
how you leverage that responsibility into the story.
Yeah, it was kind of complicated working with her, and yeah, I knew that I had to have a really great lead. And there's a brilliant theatre school in Bristol,
Oh,
probably one of the UK. I would maybe say one of the world's best drama schools, but it's theatre, and I always keep an eye on who is the graduating superstar of the year. And my lovely actor in Allhallowtide, Ewan Black, just graduated as the star drama student. So I also wanted to write something.
the
I,
young man, is that the young man in the film?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Ewan Black, yeah.
Yeah, he did great.
And I kind of met him before I started writing as well, and he's learned a lot of sort of physical comedy through his theatre school. So he made me think more in a comic tone, and I think the Scottish accent's inherently quite comic. So to meet your actor before you've even begun writing and have somebody in mind, it's been a real lesson to me to just really give everything a backbone of authenticity, maybe. And again, building on the positive. Like, he had a very warm, lovely accent that was funny, but he could act, he moved in an amusing way. It just sort of, gave me extra kind of production value, which I needed because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
That's great. And this was your first film, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done music videos and I do kind of commercial advertising, online work. So I have to say, I've made a lot of films, but as a 10-minute drama, God, yeah. I mean, it's well above, and I was just completely drowning on set. It was, yeah, big learning curve.
Yeah. So before we get to the third question, which is what did you learn and what would you do different, did it turn out as expected?
Um, Uh, yes and no. I think it's always just that you can never be prepared enough. And I wish I'd had more time, I'd had more money, all those things. Um, just stuff that you can't know until you've done it once. You just have to just jump off that cliff. And in some ways, it was an absolute mess on set, and I didn't have a producer or a first AD, which are not actually luxuries; those are necessities. So it was a blur. The filming was a blur. But then I did another thing, which I would recommend to anybody making, especially their first shorts. It might feel an intimidating thing to do, and that you're slightly out of your depth, but get a really good editor and get them on board before you start filming. And I was lucky enough to get a really great editor, and I sent her the script. And I mean, she's been the assistant editor on Ex Machina and Tarzan that came out this summer, and she's sort of incredibly experienced, but keen to just, she was almost like assembling those films. So to get her own edit, she was keener than I could have ever hoped for. And she took my slightly shambolic shoot with something in there, and she flew with it. The edit was just 5 brilliant, glorious days. We made it funnier and warmer, and you really do make your film again in the edit if you're lucky, if all the stars align.
That's great. So did you go into production with a shot list, or did you have production stills, storyboards?
Yeah, because I come from animation, I'm quite stuck to my storyboards, and maybe too inflexible to a degree, but that's how I'm used to working. And so we had a starting point every moment we were shooting, but also in the edit. I don't really know any other way to work.
Gotcha. Great. So did the editor suggest, when you first entered the script, what were her suggestions? Maybe of coverage, or was it story-wise, or how did that?
Yeah, she did give me a few things that she hoped I would get, and that I probably didn't get quite as much of those things as she wanted. I didn't get cutaway. I didn't get any kind of cutaways at all. So we just had to be really inventive, and it's not ideal, but I think some of the solutions we came up with ended up being kind of supernatural. I didn't have characters leaving rooms when I was supposed to. So we had to kind of like ping the ghost in one room and ping them onto another room. So she probably said those things to me, but you know what? I didn't really understand what she meant, because I hadn't filmed a story of this detail, and I hadn't sat in an edit. You sit with your editor as well. You just have it kind of like, it's like a cold sweat of how crap you are, because you just see all the gaps. You kind of really brutally have it held up to you. So those aren't things you forget.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've just got to dive in, and prepare as much as you can, but then you got to do it and go with it and roll on the fly with it. And a lot of filmmakers talk about that. And I think that's part of the beauty of this particular creative process, is that there is so much that is open to the moment, and discovering how to best maximize those elements in the moment to the advantage of the story is what's so mysterious about the process, and fun. So did you have a thought?
Just that I guess I wish I'd been able to do that more. I hope I could do that more in the future. I think I was pretty much terrified the whole time, and I'm sure it's never an entirely relaxing experience for anybody directing, but I would like to make space for a bit more unknown magic to come in, as I progress.
Oh, that's great. That's great advice, and leads us right into the third question: is what did you learn? What would you do differently? What would you do the same?
Really just a brilliant experience learning to direct a properly trained actor. I went and did a 5-day course in London at a school called the London Film School, and we spent 5 days really learning how actors are trained. and that if you say to an actor, could you do that a bit more cool, they won't really understand what that means. That you have to find what their language, their creative language is, and break down a script with them, using that. I mean, they'll survive if you don't come to them with the right knowledge, but you just get their respect and you get a better product, and then you can rehearse, and all of that stuff flags up mistakes. I mean, my dialogue's pretty hokey in some parts, I have to say, and that's something I really learned, that get your writing absolutely great on paper, because that's just painless and free. Because once you've filmed it, you're editing, going, God, this is horrible, and it's a continuous moving shot. I can't break this, and the dialogue's just dreadful. Again, you're not gonna do that again. So just get that prepared. Not just what vintage lenses, what amazing lights. Get your nuts and bolts, because so many great films. Like, I watched The Wicker Man the other night, and it's mostly out of focus, but it's an absolute, the 70s folk horror. It's a classic film. We don't care about that stuff so much. But you care if you don't believe the actors. If it's cost you $2,000, it's going to take 3 months. Just let people believe in your world if you can. Put some emphasis into that, I think.
I think that's great advice, and really helping directors, first time or more experienced directors, sympathetically relate and understand how their particular actor, not just actors in general. I mean, that's the first level, but each actor has their own way of communicating or approaching a script or understanding a character or what they like. So knowing that you're there as a director to help serve your actor, guide them, and co-collaborate in this vision. So with your actor, what was that experience like? Were they more into understanding the motivation? Did you drill down to the details of movement and what they're trying to, for example, get from a given scene? What kind of language did you come to?
Yeah, I mean, he hadn't done much film. He'd just done a ton of theatre, so he just hit the ground running. It's a great college he'd come from, and he was so well versed in what he needed to do. And I mean, he really wanted to know about backstory. He wanted to look at it line by line and really say, what does it mean in terms of the words? What is that person doing to, the other person, that line? And I have to say, we rehearsed for a day, and then we just, on script, on set, he was just faultless. He was so well prepared, and I did try and build in enough time to give him the respect to go, this isn't about a safety take. This is about, like, this has been amazing, but you just have one free run at it, whatever you want, and very much in the vein that it's been great, but just do what you want to do as well and see what happens.
So were there moments where you weren't getting what you wanted and you had to redirect, or it was just like seamless?
Not really. The only thing I found, I mean, he's a terrific actor. He's had auditions now for Game of Thrones. So I think I was really lucky. But you make your own luck. Like, anyone can rock up to a drama school and poach the best graduate. I heard some of my dialogue was it just like clunked to the ground as we were filming. So I said, okay, let's cut that or change that. Or in hindsight, he said to me he wished he'd been a little more confident about saying that he would say things differently. So that is something that I would now say to actors is, this isn't Shakespeare. Please, please, please. If you feel it just that you would say a word differently, it's fine. Do it. Or
improvise.
Phrase something. Give people the permission, I guess, because everybody is looking at you as though this is exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah.
And you're just a duck scrabbling, calmly on the water, scrabbling like mad underneath. So you can share that process with people.
Yeah.
They kind of dig it, actually.
Of course, actors want to do their best. They want to please directors. And when you have a director say, hey, take the ball, run with it, I trust you, and establish that level of trust, that really frees up a lot of creativity.
Yeah, because you want to work with people again. You don't
Yeah.
want to cream through a crew and then, not work with people again. I think the product, the process is in the product.
Yeah.
Trying. It's not easy. It's stressful. Stuff happen. People have creative differences, but it it is just a film, and you see some of the stuff on screen when it starts to unravel. I think.
Yeah. Well, and you see some of the stuff on the screen, it starts to what?
If things are really unraveling on
Oh,
set.
you can see that on the screen. I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
it shows
yeah.
through. Well, I think you're
Mm.
absolutely right. You wanna create an awesome process that it goes directly into the product, and you want to build your network and build your team and build your toolkit and continue doing great work. So, well done. This was a great picture. It was a pleasure to have you on, and
Thank
I look forward to more great films coming from you.
you.
And
They're coming. They're coming.
awesome, awesome. I believe it. And thank you
Okay.
again. Thanks very much. So, everybody, another episode wrapped up with Tia Salisbury, who was played it forward by Ruth Pickett. Tia is in Bristol, and thank you for joining us. Bye, Tia.
Thank you. Thanks a
Bye.
lot.